All right, so we're back again, and today we're adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. And we're in our TABE Success book on page 64. Now, in our previous work, we've looked at fractions that have denominators that are the same. And if that happens, it's real easy to deal with. You don't worry about the bottom, it's already set. We're just going to worry about the top, the numerator. So in this case, 2/4 and 1/4 is 3/4. 2 plus 1 is 3. And that makes sense if you think about it. If you take a circle and you divide it into 4 pieces, you would have, here's 1/4 and 2/4. And then if we add the 1/4, I think you can see that 1, 2, 3, we've got 3/4. Now, if it's unlike, you can't do that. You can't just add it together. All right, that won't work. All right, but don't worry. Be happy. There is a workaround on this. Let's take a look at 1/2. And if you look at 1/2 and make circles again, I like the circles. You can see, okay, if I have 1/2, there it is. And I think you can see if you have 1/4 and 1/4, that's 2/4, that's the same. That is also half. So you can look at that and say, oh, 1/2 equals 2/4. Now, to be making circles on your scratch paper, that could get kind of awkward and, kind of a mess. There's an easier way to get from here, 1/2 to 2/4. Here's what you do. Take your 1/2 and multiply it by 2 on the bottom, and that'll get you to 4ths. Now that is totally okay to do. The only thing is, if you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. It's kind of like when you have kids and you give one guy a candy bar, you got to give the other guy a candy bar, okay? Here, same thing. As long as you keep it balanced, you're multiplying by 2, that's totally cool. 1/2 is equal to 2/4. And by the way, you could do that with any number you want. You could multiply it by 3. And if you do that, 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Or you could multiply it by 4. And 1/2 is equal to 4/8. So back to our original problem, what you do is if you're faced with that situation, take this, switch it so it matches up with the other one. So we're going to go 4ths, and that's going to give me 2/4, so I'm going to change this to 2/4. So now I'm going to just write over the top of it. And now we can add that up. 1/4 plus 2/4 is equal to 3/4. Now sometimes you may need to change both, okay? For example, you really can't change 3 into 5. That's not doable. But if you multiply them by each other, you'll see something interesting happen. So I'm going to multiply that 5 by 3, and I'm going to multiply the 3 by 5. And if you look, that's nice, comes out to 15ths. Now again, if you do it to the bottom, you have to do it to the top. So that becomes 2 times 5, and that becomes 9. And now we're ready to go. Okay, so that would be 19 over 15. Top heavy fraction, so we'll reduce. Goes in once with 4 left over. Okay. But the key, we've done simplification before, but here is the new thing, multiply them by each other if you have to. Now, the rules about addition hold for subtraction as well. If the denominators are the same, then you just go about your business. If they're different, however, you have to switch them first. We're going to switch you to 4ths, multiply by 2, and then do the problem. Don't do the problem until you've made the denominators the same. So your work, you've got page 64, 1 through 17. Good luck.